From the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, this is The Gateway. It's Thursday, December 18th. I'm Abby Larico. For 14 years, Foxing has been releasing emo music that's built the St. Louis band a devoted following from all over the world. Now the group is saying goodbye, at least for now.
It's valid to feel a lot of conflicting things, and it's valid to feel negative things, and it's valid to feel sad. But what can't get lost in that is all the love that people are showing to you.
Foxing guitarist and producer Eric Hudson and fans of the band share their memories of the group's music. That story from STLPR's Chad Davis is coming up after this news on The Gateway. What large data centers pay for electricity is not up for further debate in Missouri, at least at the moment. Missouri regulators say they will not reconsider a case that set Ameren Missouri's rates and terms of service for customers that use huge amounts of power. Advocacy group Consumers Council said that the new rates favored economic development over protecting Ameren's customers, but the state's Public Service Commission said in a filing that the council didn't have good enough reasons for a rehearing. The new rates went into effect December 4th. Illinois' new Vaccine Advisory Committee has voted to continue giving the hepatitis B vaccine to most newborns. That's after a federal advisory committee voted earlier this month to end a long-standing recommendation to vaccinate newborns against liver infection and chronic disease, and the CDC officially removed the recommendation this week. Dr. Mariel Frachon is the chair of the Illinois Immunization Advisory Committee. She says she didn't see any evidence that warranted the change in the vaccine recommendation.
Looking at the Illinois and Chicago data, I continue to think that given the gaps in care that we have, this is the appropriate policy.
The guidance now goes to the Illinois Department of Public Health, which earlier this month said it would recommend the vaccine. In St. Louis County, health officials do also continue to recommend hepatitis B vaccination for newborns. A new study shows a closing gap between what women and men are paid at Illinois companies. Nearly 4,000 companies submitted wage and demographic information on more than 3 million positions to the State Department of Labor starting in 2021. It found women are paid 91 to 93 cents for every dollar men make in similar positions. Dr. Robert Bruno directs the Project for Middle Class Renewal at the University of Illinois, which conducted the study. He says he hopes these pay gaps will disappear entirely.
Pay should be based on skill. It should be based on the fit, of the person to the job. It should be based on the task that they perform. And there should be no irrelevant considerations.
The same study found Black and Hispanic workers make 90 to 94 cents for every dollar a white person makes in a similar role. A Republican Missouri state senator contends that his colleagues were wrong when they cut off debate so frequently throughout 2025. St. Louis Public Radio's Jason Rosenbaum spoke with Senator Lincoln Huff about his worries about the long-term impact on the legislative body.
Republicans forcibly ended Democratic filibusters on a redistricting plan, a measure to restrict constitutional amendments, and a ballot item aimed at repealing an abortion rights measure. Huff voted against all attempts to cut off debate, something that's relatively rare in the Missouri Senate. And he fears that the traditionally deliberative body will become more partisan.
It's almost, sacred to me because it's worked the whole time Missouri's been here.
Huff will be term limited out of office next year. He was recently ousted as chairman of the powerful Senate Appropriations Committee. I'm Jason Rosenbaum, St. Louis Public Radio.
You can listen to Huff's episode of Politically Speaking at stlpr.org or wherever you find podcasts like this one. The Clayton Police Department is still trying to determine who set a fire back in August that seriously damaged 3 vehicles on Westmoreland Place. The department released another photo of the person they believe is responsible for the fire, which police have called an anti-Semitic hate crime. In this photo, the suspect is standing outside the victim's home prior to the fire starting. Clayton detectives and FBI agents will be in the neighborhoods around where the crime took place at the end of the month. A spokeswoman for the police department says they hope the latest canvass might catch people who were previously out of town or prompt them to mention a detail that might not have felt as important at the time. Investigators found what they called anti-Semitic graffiti at the scene. However, some members of the Jewish community have pushed back on that description, saying the language targeted the Israeli military, not the religion. Leaders from the Eden Theological Seminary in Webster Groves say a $10 million grant will help expand support for Christian leaders and congregations across the country. St. Louis Public Radio's Lucretia Wembley reports.
The grant was awarded this month through the Lilly Pathways for Tomorrow initiative. It's the second phase of a plan to help educate leaders and strengthen collaborations between seminaries and ministries across the U.S. and Canada. Mary Blofis is Eden's Vice President for Advancement and Strategic Partnerships.
Our faculties will be working together to create courses for how do congregations thrive in the digital age. The way we gather and the way we understand ourselves as humans and the way we know things is changing.
Starting next year, seminaries in Tennessee, Minnesota, Canada, and Kentucky will join Eden to brainstorm new program ideas. I'm Lucretia Wembley, St. Louis Public Radio.
In his first appearance since being named to the position, the new head coach of St. Louis City SC shared he's ready to move the team past the frustration of the past 2 years. St. Louis Public Radio's Jonathan All reports.
Johan DeMay says he took the job in St. Louis because he believes the ownership and leadership have a shared vision of playing exciting soccer and winning games. He says he's aware the past 2 seasons have fallen well below expectations and seen significant staff turnover.
I think I completely understand the frustration from the fans. I think now is the opportunity to start a new cycle, a new chapter with like a new leadership.
DeMay was most recently an assistant coach with the Columbus Crew and says he was impressed with St. Louis's fan base and facilities when the two sides faced off this past season. I'm Jonathan All, St. Louis Public Radio.
The St. Louis band Foxing has grown from indie newcomers into one of the most lauded emo revival bands out of the Midwest. But after more than a decade, the band is saying goodbye, at least for now. St. Louis Public Radio's Chad Davis went to meet the devoted fans who traveled miles to see one last show, and the guitarist who's grateful for their support.
Guitarist and producer Eric Hudson joined Foxing back in 2013. Then he blinked.
It's almost like I fell asleep or I blacked out when I was like 20, and now I'm waking up and I'm 33, and it doesn't feel like any of it happened.
But he wasn't dreaming, because a lot has happened in the past decade for Foxing. With bare and confessional records to the experimental. The group's self-titled album released last year stretched its experimentation with its most raw and chaotic arrangements to date. Then, in September, lead singer Connor Murphy, drummer John Helwig, bassist Brett Torrance, and Hudson announced the band's hiatus. Hudson says they love the band, but they each needed to figure out new things.
We're all in our mid-30s or early 30s, and it's not a lucrative thing for us. Like, we do make money from it, but, it's not lucrative. It's valid to feel a lot of conflicting things, and it's valid to feel negative things, and it's valid to feel sad, but what can't get lost in that is like all the love that people are showing to you. Don't let that get lost.
The surprise break came with 4 other surprises. Sold-out shows in Chicago and St. Louis. The last St. Louis show brought people from all over the country together.
I traveled about 2 hours and everything to see them.
I'm from St. Louis. I'm from Minnesota. I'm heading to Colorado where I live now, so not super on my way.
I flew in from Philadelphia. I just landed like a couple hours ago.
The show instantly reminded fans of the traditions the band helped create.
They always have shows in December, and it's a good time for our friends to all get together and kind of come together and experience it over and over again.
For others, the music has been a soundtrack to important life moments.
I've brought my family to this band. I've listened to their music. They've helped me through really hard times, and I've always looked forward to whatever they had next, and I'm looking forward to just revisiting this band over time.
For almost 2 hours, the band played through their catalog. The set list represented all aspects of the group, from rowdy and angsty to the more somber records.
Oh God, he's everywhere I go.
And a thank you from Murphy.
There is not a single shred of belief that any of us had when we were kids watching bands here that we would get to play on this stage, let alone sell it out. So thank you, every single one of you, for making that dream come true.
The message was earnest, something Hudson says has always been at the center of the band's music, along with integrity.
If any of those things have to be compromised, then we think it's probably better to just walk away from it until we can come back to it feeling fresh.
Hudson was the last person to leave the stage, as if he didn't want to say goodbye either, looking at the audience that gave so much over the years. I'm Chad Davis, St. Louis Public Radio.
Our Jessica Rogan edited that piece. The Gateway is a production of St. Louis Public Radio, a listener-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis. Our theme music is by Ryan McNeely of Adult Fur, but right now you're hearing more foxing. This is Slapstick. I'm Abby Larico, and from the St. Louis Public Radio Newsroom, thanks for listening to The Gateway.